Hello and welcome to Books and Us, the podcast about learning about new ideas and getting inspiration from books. I'm your host Ranjit Monga. I take up books in the non-fiction category, from which we can get a wealth of knowledge and information.
Elders have to demonstrate, they have to be the bigger givers, they have to set the pace because whatever they do is what they will get back. And that is something we must always continue to remember and remind ourselves.
This episode features Renu Kapoor, who is a chartered accountant by profession and also works for social causes. She has written a book on families. The book is titled Serendipity, Mantras for a Family. Renu is well known for her efforts to introduce a humane touch to the mortuary in St. George's Hospital, Mumbai, and has been responsible for the reconstruction of the crematorium at Marine Lines, also in Mumbai. An accomplished Bharat Natyam dancer, Renu Kapoor also works with women entrepreneurs and artisans. Today we are going to be speaking to her about her book, which she wrote back in 2013, and discuss her mantras to bring families together. She is based in Mumbai. Hello Renu Kapoor, welcome to Books and Us.
Thank you so much. It's really great to be able to talk to you about something I did a few years ago. So I'm feeling really honored.
First of all, I want to ask you is this an autobiography?
No, it's not an autobiography at all because it's really not about me. I'm actually incidental in the whole thing. It's about a family and how they live their values, and I happen to have married into this family.
The book comprises 25 mantras to live by for a family.
That's right.
So, what are the important ones?
It's when I heard that you were going to talk to me about the book, I actually picked up the book and started going through it. And every mantra that I read, I said, yeah, this is what really helped. This is what worked. But ultimately, I would like to say that the first basic mantra is mantra number 3, which reads, I will just read it from the book, is that it is, the intention to resolve an issue and carry on as if nothing had happened must be predominant, as that is the only way to sustain joyous relationships in a joint family. And it's actually, how should I say, we say in Hindi ki bana ke rakhni hai, means come what may, you have to keep it going, or the show must go on in a positive and harmonious manner. But 4 and 5 are equally important because that's where the elders set the pace. So in this issue number 3, the mantra number 3, that resolving an issue and carrying on as if nothing has happened, actually that sounds quite impossible in today's world because where we see that interpersonal relationships break down because nobody is able to tolerate another person's behavior anymore. Yeah, right. But that's what, to be honest, when I look back at myself, when I got married and today, I'm a much more tolerant person, more accepting. And it actually, this trait applies even to the workplace, even with your domestic staff, with friends. You learn to accept. So this month, actually, my book, I have felt over the years, these mantras apply to anywhere where there are human interactions. And you were talking about the 4th mantra that when a new entrant to the family, like a daughter-in-law, is if she is welcomed properly and they all learn to share space with her, then that can set the space for mutual togetherness in future. Absolutely. Actually, yeah. So I have said warmth and love must be personally demonstrated to the new bahu or the new daughter-in-law by all family members. How, and it actually works the other way. Also, a new son-in-law coming in, the new entrance, how the new entrant is received determines the future tone of the relationship. So the first big step has to be taken by the elders. And it can't be the other way around. There is no other way to ensure that there will be harmony in a relationship if the elders don't set the pace. 3, 4, or 5 are actually the cornerstones. That once you have made someone your own, or they have become part of the family, then you should treat them as your own with no reservations. So that works both ways. I may not like something that is happening, or my in-laws have done something, but because they are mine, I do not need to vocalize everything or criticize, because the next day is going to be different. It's a process. I won't say it all happened overnight in the first year, but it really helped that my elders were demonstrative in their the way they received me.
And you have also talked about the role of elders in a more wide-ranging way, that they are the ones who are mainly responsible for keeping everybody together, whether in a joint family or in a nuclear family.
My favorite word is osmosis.
Yes,
and I
in the
find
book,
that
yes.
emulate is another word, because I feel that children will do what they see and not what you're told or what they hear. So, you can tell your kid that you've got to be well mannered or don't tell a lie, but if you yourself are doing contrary to those two things, then your child is only going to learn that. So, the elders have to, they're like, I was told right in the beginning, I cannot use the word mine. I was told in a sweet manner, but I was told off that you can't use the word mera. This is mine. Here, everything is ours.
But that's a very big thing to accept if you accepted it, because in today's world, everything depends upon your personal space, your personal possessions.
Which has been stretched. This personal space, in fact, I feel has been stretched too far. And that is what is causing more issues of mental health in the youngsters. Everybody needs to go to a counselor, because this space is fine. You need physical space. I agree that you need a bedroom, you need to have your little privacy. But today's young children also, I see they'll come from school and they do not think they have to, sit down with their elders, chat, talk. It's like straight go into the bedroom. And must have been done by the parents. So the parents have set that example. And now when the children do it to them, the parents can't understand what's gone wrong.
Yes.
So I have recently, just day before, a friend was moaning about how her son and daughter-in-law are really not behaving. And I just reminded her, I said, but that's exactly how you were conducting yourself. So for your son, it is like par for the course. My parents were like this. So if we are like this, how does it matter? So one has to remember this aspect, that whatever you do is going to come back, rebound onto you, if you don't mind what you need to be very particular about what you're doing.
So how did you navigate this thing about personal space when you were told that nothing is, yours in that way?
So I was taken aback. It took me a little time to reconcile to that I have to keep using the word hamara, but it's got so well entrenched that today the home I live in, which is our home, my husband's and mine, I never call it ki let's go to our home. I'll always say let's go to Ajanta, which is where I stay. Okay. So even my grandchildren now call my home, they don't say Nani home, they say Ajanta. It's something that my mother-in-law said once. And there's another story, little story that, yes, we had to go every Tuesday to meet my husband's grandmother. Irrespective. So I was working, but I still had to go for that 1 hour for lunch. It was like a ritual. And she would tell us this story continuously. This was a story she loved telling, that the elders of the family used to live on the terrace. And when they died and when they were taken for cremation, when the parents came back, they found that their beds had been moved upstairs to the terrace. Okay. And the parents asked their kids that, where are our beds? What have you done? But the kids said, but that's where your parents were staying. So now we moved you there. And she used to always tell us this, that you remember, whatever you are doing, it will come back to you. So now I remember her a lot, because this story has proved to be absolutely true, universally, at work, at home. So that was one story that really entrenched in my head. And plus I came also, even though I lived in a nuclear family, I came from a very harmonious set of brothers of my father and my grandparents. So I had always sort of realized the virtues of family. But I was needed to be reprimanded or reminded by my in-laws many times about different things. But I received it because there was a lot of love. I would say I accepted it because there was a lot of love, there was a lot of fairness, there was no differentiation between my sister-in-law, that is my husband's sister, or my other sister-in-law, and me.
Yeah, that resulted in a lot of learning for you.
Continuously. But mind you, I came from a family of education and professionals, and I was the first one to work in this family. And once they knew that I wanted to work, my mother-in-law's she did a pivot and said, okay, let's go buy some sarees for you to wear to work. So that is very important in an elder, that when you know that the situation is not going to go the way you want it, then you need to, be rational about it and work around it. Now, today I am an elder because we have daughters-in-law, sons-in-laws, and one realizes that one has to move with times.
All these learnings which you're talking about, they seem to be quite universal. Can they be applied to both joint families as well as nuclear families?
Absolutely, because I don't recommend in today's time that people, unless they need to or they have to or they want to, stay in a joint family. Bombay is a city where there's always constraint of space. The apartments are small. But what should be done is to leverage the good points about the joint family, where you shared, where you did things together, you prayed together, you had your meals together, so all those, because those are the things that reinforce relationships. So those mustn't, and today with the young girls mostly working, you need a support system. And what better support system than your own parents and parents-in-law? I recommend that, the grandparents shouldn't be considered as an appendage. They should be considered as a very, very integral part of the family. And the children should be encouraged to make cards, gifts, go to visit, and today it's so easy because even if you're not in the same town physically, you can use FaceTime, you can interact, you can even play games, you can do so many things because of digitalization. So those are the values that need to be carried on.
How do you think positive examples can be set before children in the home?
See, I think today even if it becomes like a ritual, but certain structured family interaction is important. Like we in our family, even though we are all dispersed, my younger daughter has decided that she is going to have what we call a havan for the birthdays of the children or their anniversary. And so all the immediate family, first cousins, second cousins, we all get together on that day. So you're praying together, and there's something about when you chant together, it just gives a new, different type of an energy. Or if you're celebrating, like I just celebrated my mother-in-law's 91st birthday. So everyone made an effort to be there. When we celebrated her 90th, her grandchildren came from all over the world to celebrate her birthday. So she must have done something right, or a lot of rights, that everybody felt that they need to be here. So we have to have structure. Even if the kids protest, it is important that on a weekly basis, it could be like a ritual. I remember we used to live in a nuclear family, but I remember going to my grandparents' home every Sunday and having lunch at their house. And it was a trek from where we stayed in Delhi. But we used to go, and it was not negotiable. It was non-negotiable. So young parents need to do that with both sides, like even the girl's side, even the in-laws. Elders have a huge value. And what children can get from them, they will not get from their parents. So to set that pace, it has to become like a ritual that you do Diwali together, you celebrate, if you're celebrating Christmas, you celebrate that together, but there has to be, you can't just be I and me and my two children.
What about youngsters in the family? Because children can still be, made to do things when they are very young. But once they grow up, how do you explain it to them?
I don't think if you've done it right when they were growing up, you need to explain it to them. They will, and obviously the elders need to have invested in their relationship with these little youngsters. I have my young daughters today, my nephews. They all make it a point to go and meet their grandmother. I mean, I never have to tell my daughter. I'll be informed that I went today, I had tea, I sat with her. So, I mean, it's part of how they were brought up, and they see it. And like my husband goes to meet his mother every morning diligently. And I go every alternate day. And my children know that. So my children do the same and it's because they want to. Forget that. I would say that it is now extended to my sons-in-law and my nephew's wife. She makes it a point to see that she comes and meets my mother-in-law. My sons-in-law want to go and meet. So I think it's what you give is what you get, and elders will have to give more than what they get. And the youngsters of today, if they've seen their parents do things in a particular manner, they will do that. But if they've never seen their parents do something, then you cannot expect them to suddenly out of the blue feel family oriented.
Or expect that this will come naturally to them.
Yeah, and and the best part is that it's that immediate parent who actually sees the breakdown in the relationship, because they had forgotten when they were young that one day they will also be in that position. So I think some of these old rituals which were there that you had to go, like for instance,
yes,
I'm a very modern person, but touching an elder's feet, just bowing down or just bending down, you just get a blessing. So it just encourages somebody to say something nice to you, that you have good health or be happy or whatever. And so in my generation, I don't like anybody touching my feet, but I will always have something. I mean, I always think of something that I must say positively, to the person when you hug and meet. So these old-fashioned, which we called old-fashioned, they had a lot of merit. So one of my mantras is that you need to pray, you need to eat, both together as families, for that bonding to happen.
It has been almost 10 years since you wrote this book. Have you observed life around you from a fresh perspective and seen whether any of the mantras need updating, or whether this could have been different?
No, in fact, I sometimes, when I look at the mantras, read the mantras as I did a few days ago, and I say that if only people had sort of followed these mantras, which happened very organically in the family I am married into, is that things they would not, because I'm a practicing chartered accountant, so I get to see a lot of discord in families. And settlements and disputes, etc. And one of my mantras was that effort will never be equal in a joint family business, but money will. And that is a given. And I have seen so many arbitrations. So I hadn't even reached that stage in life when I would have seen so much that I have seen today, 10 years ago. But I don't think I need to update my mantras. In fact, I feel that these mantras need to somehow be communicated much more. And I'm so grateful to you that you've reinvented my book, and in the sense that it's given it a fresh lease of life, that hopefully people will want to read the book to see these mantras. Yeah. They're applicable to every situation. And even today, if you haven't done it all these years, try and do it from today. And I have a friend who's a few years ago told me that, I read, she'd got a new daughter-in-law, she's a foreigner. And she said, I've promised. There were a lot of things that she wanted to say. And then she met me and she says, after your book, I read your book, and now I have promised I will not say anything negative about my daughter-in-law. If I say anything, it will be positive. So I was very happy that, that was that one mantra which says that if somebody becomes your own, then you just take full ownership and you don't criticize that person.
Okay, just to wrap up, I would like to ask whether Can you encapsulate the tips for families to promote togetherness?
Most importantly, don't take offense to anything. I mean, I mentioned my family is like an ostrich. They dig their heads in the sand and behave as if nothing is happening. And till date, that is something that they specialize in. I used to resent it at one time. Today, I think it's great. So you have to carry on as if nothing has happened. If you can discuss it and smoothen it out, great. Otherwise, just carry on with life. So that's one very important point. Secondly, elders have to demonstrate. They have to be the bigger givers. They have to set the pace, because whatever they do is what they will get back. And that is something we must always continue to remember and remind ourselves. If these two things are followed, I think there would be a lot more happier families.
Okay, thank you, Renuji. Thanks so much for joining us and giving us so many mantras.
It's been a pleasure. And as I said, I'm fortunate that you're going to give a voice to my book all over again. And I'd be happy if somebody wants to contact me. My email is Renu, S for Simla, Kapoor, KAPOOR @gmail.com. So feel free to write to me if anybody wants to discuss this further or has some issue, because I do a lot of mentoring by virtue of my profession. It sort of happens. A lot of women come and talk to me, and I'm very active with the FICCI Ladies Organization. I was the past chair. So I have a lot of young girls talking. And I've had a lot of women entrepreneurs whose concept began at my office table. So feel free to talk to me or write to me rather.
I'm sure we'll get some feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Renu.
Well, listeners, if you would like to share about a book or know authors you would like to put me in touch with, you can reach me at podcast@ramonproductions.org. That is RAMONPRODUCTIONS.org. Thank you for listening to this podcast of Books and Us. If you liked it, pass the word and subscribe on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts. So that's all for this episode. This is your host Ranjit Monga signing off. Till next time, goodbye and take care.